So, the last animating stream didn't go so great because it seemed like I was running into a bug that I think it was a bug because after I finished the stream, I restarted Modo and no longer had any problems animating. So we do have a couple of animations left to do. Afterwards, I'll be importing the file and, well, exporting it from Modo and talk about that a little bit. Import it into Unity, assign some materials and shaders and such, and then probably start at least creating the different scripts and sort of the hierarchy and stuff I'm going to need for the AI and all the various code. Not sure how far I'm going to get into the coding aspect tonight, probably not terribly far. So first, we need to create, let's see, what sort of an, I want to go with a, thank you. I think it's a great looking model as well. And the modeling videos went pretty well. So let's first go with, let's say a chomp. And for that, I'm going to go to the groups, expand my actions, go with closed, rename this chomp. And then I'm going to select chomp down here. And I should have a few keyframes in here already. I'm going to go ahead and bring up this other window. Okay, so let's see. Basically, we have a closed keyframe and a closed keyframe. So what I should be able to do, with this selected, I should be able to just go drag this out to, like, say, I could have the mouth open be at like 4, and then I'll put the mouth closed again, be at like 8. So really all I need to go do now is go to frame 4 and open this thing. So let's go with shell top. I'll open this up. Something like, let's just go with 33. Shell bottom, we'll do 33 as well. Now that puts it into the ground a bit. So since I don't want that, I should probably use either the rig Y or the root Y. And I'm thinking, oops, not rotation, position. I'm thinking I'll just move that up a little bit. 0.3 should be alright. And let's see, we don't want the tongue getting in the way because we want it to be more of a bite. It could look entertaining, I guess, with the tongue out, but let's go with tongue, the lick vertical. I'm just gonna bring its tongue down. And then let's see, do we want to scale the tongue or anything? Could scale it just so it doesn't look too tiny in there. And let's see, do I want lick vertical? I think I might just curl the tongue back a bit. And that should also allow me to scale it so it looks more like the actual size that it should be. And I'll just leave it there for now. So I'm gonna go grab these keyframes and set these to linear because I don't like the easing. And I can change this preview here to these frames. Should be under settings here. Go to 8 being the end. And play that. It's okay. The tongue does go out a little bit though. Let's see. So, not really liking what's going on with the tongue. Easy enough to just Scale it. Let me just get rid of some of the curl. Maybe that'll help. Tongue lick. Or I could also give it some angle so it's not. Let's maybe something like that. And then it'll shrink back as he chomps. Looks good enough to me. Maybe make this a little smaller though, so it can't potentially get outside of it. And then I can look at, do I want to twist it? You know, give it kind of a weird, like a weird twist or something going on as it comes after you. I don't know. Let's hit play here, because that would make it look a little different from the different sides instead of it always looking straight, but I think straight's going to be better. So I'm just going to get rid of the twist and get rid of the horizontal here. Alright, so I'll leave it here. I'll just leave it there, and I'm going to go ahead and save this as 15. So that's the chomp animation done. Let me knock that one off. And now we can do a lick loop. And for the lick loop, let's see. I don't really have anything. I don't think that I would start from with that. So I'll just go with let's see. Can click it on none and do a new action and just say I can call it lick loop. Yes, I like lick loop. I do try not to give all my animations random amusing names though, because it makes the coding side a little more difficult. So let's see, I've got this selected. I'm on 0. Go ahead and keyframe that. So, tongue scale. Well, I guess the first thing we need to do is I want to start this out with an open pose. So I guess in that regard, I could have used the chomp thing, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Although, for the sake of making sure that some of the values are the same, I'll just go ahead and do that. Lick loop and grab lick loop. Okay, so it looks like let me go back to chomp, because so if I do like closed, you see it's down there. Chomp, it pops up here, and I'm not so sure if that's good or bad, because it means that it'll be going up. Let me go ahead and just grab this and say it was the rig. It's this root position here. I'll go ahead and I'll just do this manually, because what I was thinking is if it's blending within Unity, it should kind of do that anyway, just by blending the different animations together. Blending from an animation where it's up and an animation where it's down, it should, shift up. But I guess just keyframing it gives me a little more control. So for the lick loop, let's go ahead and remove that. I'll remove this here. And I might as well, what I want to do is take this, copy this, and I'll just go paste it over here. Paste it here. Alright, so now the mouth is open. And what do we want to do with it? I guess we should start out with the tongue down and large. And the mouth doesn't need to necessarily be this open on top. it might actually help sell it a little better if when the tongue's down, the top is down too. Let's just get this into a rough position and go with, where is the tongue tip scale? No, there it is, tongue tip scale. Something like 10%. And for the tongue scale, I'm going to just set that at 0. That's okay that it's kind of going into the ground at the moment. I don't think that's a terribly big problem. But let's see about making maybe this vertical lick a little less low. So I'm kind of just debating as to whether I want it to rock and spin, or if I just want it to like open farther and close and stuff. So I didn't really plan out exactly how I was going to do these, just that I was going to do them. Alright, we'll start with this. Just copy this, paste it here, and for this one I'm going to go ahead and set the tongue scale to 0. Tongue tip scale is still 10, that's fine, but we want to bring it up. Yes, I hear the cat groaning. She's sleeping and making noises. Okay, so 4, 8. If I just go ahead and hit play on this, that's what we have. And as you see, with the bass not moving, it's still pretty disturbing, but with the bass not moving, I kind of want the bass to move. So let's see, that goes up pretty well, and down. So now I have to decide, do I want to rotate it, or do I want to actually bring the lower jaw? I think I'm going to try bringing the lower jaw, the shell bottom, up a bit, and then try bringing the rig position down to compensate, and just see what that looks like. I think that looks better. And these animations don't have to be perfect. They can easily be tweaked at a later date. At the moment, it's just kind of getting them set up and seeing how things look once it's in game. So we can go ahead and save this again. So we have lick loop done. And let's see. I wanted to have, say, for a projectile. So chomp would probably be a good one for this. Because I would basically just have it opening its mouth and closing its mouth. That just goes open, close. I was just thinking about maybe lunging forward or something like that. I'm just not sure that how well that would work. I don't think lunging is going to work very well. But let me go ahead and drop that. I'm going to duplicate chomp and rename it to projectile. Projectile. There we go. Grab projectile. Take this. And really the only thing I see here that I want to change is the tongue scale here. I think I just want to effectively get rid of the tongue. Tongue scale, -100. Because it's going to be spitting something. So the tongue being there might look weird. Because it'll be fighting with whatever geometry is coming out of it. So tongue scale, -100. And the scale is just being added to what its current scale actually is. So it's not exactly like it's inverting the thing by 100%, otherwise you'd see it sticking out the back. Okay, so that's just a quick open, and I may even end up using that as a chomp, I don't know. But the ones that use projectiles might also not lick you. It might be a different colored shell or just something like that. Just having everything in one enemy basically like this just makes it easier because I don't have to update and manage a bunch of different files. It's just one file. Alright, so I think we have one animation, maybe two left. Not taking too long. So the other one I want to do would be like an item, or I guess a dead or KO'd or whatever. So what I want to have it do is when it's basically dead, to have it rotate up and just spin so you know it's like an item. I'm not sure if I need to actually animate the rotation up like this, or if I just need to just keyframe it starting there and then just spin it and let Unity do the blending. I think I'm going to try that approach first. And then basically after it sits there for enough time and you don't pick it up or use it, it could just like, you know, rotate a little bit and go into the ground, bury itself. So let's see. I guess I need an item and a escape. Call them item and escape. So item, we'll just start with closed and duplicate this, rename it, call it item, and go down here, grab item. So all I should need to do is take one of these roots, this root probably X, and rotate that something like 90 degrees. That gets us nice and vertical. And it doesn't really, it's embedded a little bit, easy enough to fix. The root position Y. Just drag this, it's a pretty small value, but that'll do. Alright, so I'm going to grab this keyframe, because this is at, what, 4? And then I'm going to paste it. And we'll take this. It just depends on how fast I want this to spin, and actually I'm kind of thinking that I will handle the spinning of the item in code. So this will be more of just an item position, and I'll handle the rotation in code. At which point, if I'm handling the rotation in code, I might as well handle the digging animation, the escaping animation with code as well. So that would mean that we are pretty much done with the animating, and we can move on to the next step. Let's go ahead and see animations, export, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to none. I'm going to file save as, give this another number, and I'm going to export this as an FBX. And I need to check my FBX settings. So FBX 2013, I'm not going to save cameras or lights. I do want export actions into separate takes enabled. It's off by default. It needs to be on, so that each of these animations will come into Unity basically pre-cut up. Instead of having one long timeline of animations and having to cut up each section manually and put in the timestamps and everything, which is really tedious and manual, annoying, and prone to error. This just has it all automatically done for me. So I'm going to save this as an FBX, and I'm just going to get rid of the number. Does not support, format does not support all scene elements. Yep, that's fine. And now I should be able to bring up Unity. That is Steam. That is Unity. And I've got my giant clam folder. So I've got my giant clam here. We need a test scene so that I don't have to keep coming in here into this level. For now, I can go ahead and use like in the world 1 overworld here. This is just another test scene. Pretty much all this stuff's test stuff. Very pre-alpha at the moment. I should probably have that on the title and everything. So giant clam, we need to go say resources, models, and I'm going to drag the giant clam and onto the models folder here, and then drag my giant clam into the scene, and we see my giant clam is not so giant. It's pretty small, which I anticipated based on how big they were in the scene in Modo. So what I can do, giant clam, where did you go? ABCFG, giant clam. So the scale factor here, I'm going to just see, yeah, something like that, actually. Yep, that'll do. That should do. 0.02. Rig is generic, root node and everything. I'm just not going to assign that. But now if you look over here at animations, look, you see all of everything is already set up. All I need to do is go say things like lick loop. That's a loop. I need to say lick, or not lick time, loop the time. Walking is going to be a time loop. Gnashing, might as well make that a time. Idle, not a time, a loop. A time loop. So loop that. Loop the lick spin, walk, gnash, lick loop definitely, chomp, nope, item, item. I guess once it becomes an item, it's just going to be an item. So I don't need to loop that or anything. Alright, so what I should go ahead and do is look at my materials and do a, apply those, apply the import settings, and do a create a material and call this giant clam. And for the shader, I've created some shaders with Shader Forge, and that's these over here. And I think I'll go with something. I should actually check and see what I'm currently using on some of, like, say, this guy. So I'll go here and check the body, and I'm using Shader Forge character because I played around with Shader Forge a lot and created a bunch of different stuff. I need to get these wings out of the way. Alright, giant clam, grab. So giant clam body, I'm going to change this to the giant clam material I'm creating, and just to make sure it's on the material, go here, Shader Forge, where is character? Is character. And you'll notice I have a few settings, and if you look at something like the crab here, the ramp is just set to white. I'm not actually using a ramp. I had been using ramps in the past, and might play with them a little bit again in the future, but at the moment I like how it shades without them. So I might even just remove that from the shader. So I just have a diffuse, and then I have some settings down here. And in general, those should be decent settings. So I'm going to go look at the gloss. I'm going to write these down real quick. The gloss is 1.5. The spec is 0.75. Rem power 1.25, and then thickness is 0.625. And you'll get to see how these affect this character here as I apply them. So the giant clam here. So we need the diffuse texture. So let's see, my textures are here. Aptly named textures. Giant clam. and that's off the screen, so I'll drag this over. So giant clam body, just drop this in there, and find it, giant clam body, diffuse, ramp. I should have just a white, yep, right there, white, rim color cube map. The cube maps and stuff actually get set automatically via some scripts based on the environment settings and stuff. I just want to see what I'm using by default is Sunny 1. So go to the giant clam, select this, and do just Sunny 1 in here. Alright, so zoom in on this clam here. And if you notice, you look at PJ, you'll see this white, basically rim going on in him. And so if I go increase the rim power, you start to see that going on there. And then if I change the rim thickness, see I can tone it down. So what do we have for our basic values here? The rim power, we're going to do 1.25. And then the rim thickness, we were at 0.625, which is probably going to be, I don't know, it might be a bit low for this one, we'll see. I'm going to deselect that so I can see it in the viewport, and that's actually looking pretty cool. And I meant to lock, this. There we go. Making sure I didn't set anything I shouldn't have. Alright, so glossiness, let's go with 0.75, 0.75, which won't matter unless the specularity is turned up. And actually the glossiness was supposed to be 1.5. So let's just do this, and then we'll do 1.5. So different materials and stuff with glossiness. Like metal would be, well, I guess it depends on type of metal. Something that's polished is going to be highly glossy. Something that's not polished will have a low glossiness. Let's look at specularity. I don't really want it to be very specular. Let's try 0.5. Let's try the glossiness. Do I want tight hot spots on it like that, or do I want more broad, even specularity? And I think for now I'm just going to leave it 1.5. As with anything, you can change, all the values are subject to change. But I do like to have some stuff going on in here with like the rim power and thickness and everything, just to help, because these things get different colors and things like that based on the environment lighting. I'm not sure if it's the, let's see, yeah, so if I change the different cube maps here, you can see the shell taking on different tones and such. And I might even look and see, like, well, looking at World 3 here, it might be a little too bright. So for like the rim power, I might want to tone that down a bit. And then we can go back to Sunny 1. And I'm still happy with it. That's still fine with me. And I think we can just leave it there. I like the way the ridges are showing up. And we'll just leave it there for now. Alright. So the giant clam, what I always do, the first thing I do, is I'm going to go create an empty, and I'm going to rename it underscore giant clam holder. So the underscore is basically just my way of telling myself a boxer lobster wow looks cool. Thank you. I'm having trouble reading your name on my screen over here. Lbitox or something. So the character is based off of, well, inspired by a webcomic by The Oatmeal, titled "Why the Mantis Shrimp is My New Favorite Animal." So it's a peacock mantis shrimp with boxing gloves, and if you haven't read that webcomic, I suggest you go do it. It's pretty awesome, and you'll understand a lot about where the game's coming from. And they are the people behind the Exploding Cats card game that has been Exploding Kittens card game that has been huge on Kickstarter lately. So same people. Alright, let's see, what do I got now? Giant clam holder. I'm just going to drag this up here towards the top, drag the giant clam in it, and everything's already at 0, so why does this not look to be at 0? Why does that something, it looks to be, oh yes, because I have it locked. There we go. I was like, it doesn't look right. That doesn't, something looks like it's offset. So there. Now that's at 0. I'm just going to drag it over here so it's no longer at 0. Now one of the other things I need is an animator controller. So let's see, models, resources, not in the cube maps. It's going to be under prefabs or models. Models, animator controllers. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new animator controller and call this giant clam underscore controller. Probably don't need to add controller to all of them, but so be it. And that is going to go right here. So now I'll be using that to go add different animations to different layers and that sort of thing to set up and deal with AI stuff. At the moment I haven't thought far enough ahead to know how I'm going to do that yet, because I'm not really pre-planning much of this. But so let's see, animations, export, material setup, holder setup. So then I need some colliders, I need triggers, I need a bunch of basic code sort of template stuff, and I need some RVO control. I need an RVO controller, some rich AI. So this is going to get into actually coding stuff, but I really want to avoid most of that for tonight, so I might just create the scripts. Because it's already been a long day of coding. To get things like, what was the main thing I did today? It was setting up Super Mario 3D World style blockades, and this drain over here it leads to a blockade, basically. These other drains lead to worlds or levels, but anyway, back on target. So I'm going to save the scene, and if you look at the different enemies, like say this crab, this is just a ragdoll, so that's just going to go poof and explode if I play the scene. But if you look at like the crab's different codes in here, like I have an animator, a bool control, or a bool manager, jump methods, a punch. So I can go ahead and bring these up in Visual Studio, because I'm going to need to create these scripts anyway, and just kind of for the giant clam, and then reference what I've already done for the other characters. All right, so let me go ahead and just close all the other stuff. And there we are. So you see in something like Crab Punch, I have to have certain random variables like the colliders that are hit, stuff that's been damaged, that kind of stuff, and I'll have like a coroutine for jump attack forward. That sets a bool and on the animator, and then goes into a while loop and just does an attack until it shouldn't be attacking anymore. And that's basically the same sort of pattern I'll be following, using things like the spinning lick and the lick loop and that kind of stuff, where it's a constant thing. So there's a punch, ragdoll methods, there's a setup. All my characters have a setup script. The crab can drop arms and become an item. I definitely need a radar script, so I'm going to start creating some scripts here. And I'll just go with giant clam underscore setup. Do another one. Giant clam underscore radar. And let's see, I've got a couple of these written down. Setup radar. I should do a giant clam punch. Giant clam. Come on. Come on. There we go. Giant clam punch. It's having to update and deal with loading stuff and everything. So give that a sec. A giant clam animator bool manager. And it's sticking up again. There we go. Create C# script. Giant clam underscore animator bool manager. And let's see, the flash handler is already done. That's already a script I have. It's just one that I need to add to this guy here, so I can go in here and find flash handler. Once it lets me, go here, and I need the holder. The flash handler needs to be on the holder. And another thing you'll see is, let's say if I select Prawn Jeremy here, you'll see these Playmaker FSMs. So for things like attacking and jumping and just that sort of stuff, and these can be pretty in-depth. So basically my code, my scripts will work in tandem with something like a take damage FSM that you'd send messages and take damage to the enemy. So let's see. So I'll have to add some of those to it as well. And I might as well go ahead and make a prefab out of this. There's no reason not to, I don't think, at the moment. So prefabs, and that should be fine. Just drag it in there. Giant clam holder. As you see, I've got all these other holders and stuff. So let's see, go back to code real quick. Giant clam, let's see, animator bool manager, got it. Flash handler, attached it. A pickup. I should have a pickup script because it will be pickupable as with most of the stuff in the game. I really like the Super Smash Brothers style, like having all kinds of items, and the webcomic by the Oatmeal talking about how the mantis shrimp dismembers things, basically breaking them apart, is also part of why my crabs you can knock their arms off. You can knock one arm off, you can knock both arms off, and then if you knock both arms off, you can pick up the crab as an item and throw it, or you can pick up the arms and throw them or swing them or stuff like that. So I try to keep most of my enemies that you can kill itemable in some way. So let's see. I'm getting sidetracked by talking, and it's loading something, so I must have... Let's see, giant clam. I don't think I just created anything, but let's go ahead and create a giant clam pickup. I may have just created that new behavior script. That's probably what happened. There we are. I'm going to just let it finish this. It's thinking about something down here. And there we go. So just to make sure that there is nothing on the script before I delete it, delete it. Now I can grab the clam here, make sure it's the holder, and clam pickup, punch, radar, setup, all this stuff, and the animator bool manager. Come on. Alright. We'll lock it so I can select multiple. Giant clam to giant clam. It's all these scripts. Okay. And they're all empty at the moment, so nothing's showing up. I will also need to eventually add some FSMs. I'm going to need to add colliders. and such as well. And the collider thing, I'm debating whether I should use mesh colliders or I should just use primitive colliders up in like the component physics section. I haven't, so I'm going to leave that till tomorrow, I think. Let's see, I need RVO. I'm going to need a rich AI Clam. So let's go ahead and add, let's see, component should be under A star or pathfinding or something here. Navigation, no. Where is it? Rendering, miscellaneous scripts, no. Pathfinding, yep, there we are. Alright, so I need an RVO controller, and why is this? I guess technically I don't have it selected, which is probably why it was doing that. Local avoidance RVO controller. And I'll have to deal with setting that later. Let's see, so RVO controller, I'm going to need a funnel mod, I'm going to need a seeker, and I'm going to need a rich AI Clam script. So rich AI comes with the A-star pathfinding stuff, a rich AI script. I have my own rich AI crab script here. I'm going to need a rich AI giant Clam script as well, because it's, you know, I have to have custom stuff inside the rich AI's thing for the different characters. So let's see, rich AI Clam, grab this, rich AI Clam, whenever it finishes thinking. It's kind of being a pain about that tonight. Rich AI Clam. So this, that doesn't matter that it's enabled at the moment. Rich AI Clam, RVO, so I need a funnel mod and a seeker. Component, where are my pathfinding? And I'll add a seeker script, and then a funnel mod, and that should be most of the scripts I'm going to need. So where is the funnel mod? Navmesh modifier, yep, that's right. And I'm just going to use funnel. Alright, so that has the scripts from the rich AI stuff that I'm going to need, other than obviously custom coding part of the rich AI Clam script after a bit of copy and paste. So now let's start off with a few FSMs, or maybe just 2 of them. An import FBX had errors. Contains animation occurs with nans. Well, that's fun. Okay, so I'll have to keep that in mind to go back and mess with that one. We're running up about a quarter till an hour here, so I don't really want to get into messing around with that on camera and seeing, you know. Alright, so this is an FSM, and then I'm going to add a new FSM. I'm just going to go over here and call this one take damage. I'll call this one something like movement. So most of my enemies, well, I guess anything that can accept damage has a take damage FSM. And the movement will help it move around. So let's see. Collider, collision trigger, handler, and ragdoll stuff. So it looks like I have most of the stuff set up for now. Not sure I want to get in to actually going and coding it though. I think I should probably outline, outline a bit about what I want to code, what I'm going to need and everything before just sitting here and stumbling around on code. Because things like a setup script, I can show you a different setup script so you'll understand. let's see, code, and different items have different amounts of setup work that need to be done. But basically, so I have things that relate to the behavior, whether it's a blue crab or not. So I have blue crabs and red crabs. I'm going to have different versions of the clam. And this jumper means, does it jump or not? I can tell it what the jump probability is. If it will attack above while grounded, meaning if it's on the ground and you jump over it, is it going to try to hit you? Gets angry, attacks anything. Attacks anything means it will attack other enemies if the other enemy hits it. So it has a retaliation probability for, friendly fire sort of thing. Then I have to get the FSMs. Because I feed those to the other scripts. The movement FSMs, take damage FSMs. This one doesn't have, the clam's not going to have eyeballs, so that doesn't really matter. But then, have references to objects I'll need for the FSM. The animator controller, whatever the rotation game objects are, the rigs, the root, and different locators and stuff that might be useful within the file itself or the rig. And then the colliders, whatever colliders and triggers and stuff I have on it, which I need to kind of think about, because like say when it licks you, I need to have a trigger on the end of the tongue, or like out here in front of it. Doesn't necessarily need to be attached to the tongue, doesn't need to be that precise, but maybe just out here in front of it that I enable, like toggle it on and off, so that it can do damage during the animation, or during a portion of the animation or something. So then references to scripts. Every script that I'm going to have on the character, I get a reference to in setup, because I have to manipulate different stuff on them, feed them different scripts and stuff. Then the mesh renderers, Shadowcaster, and some miscellaneous stuff. And let's see, this crab setup script is, a few hundred lines of code. I think that prawn Jeremy is longer than that. Let's see, yep, a little bit longer. But then I have some short ones, like my prick, that, yeah, I guess it's still almost 200 lines of code. Some stuff commented out and everything, but whatever. So I think I'm going to go ahead and quit for now, since this has gone kind of smoothly up till here. Want to pre-plan sort of what I'm going to do with the code, and I guess tomorrow night I'll be primarily coding. So, alright, well, thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream unless there are some questions, and I'll probably even go ahead and cut the stream out for whenever I do process it. I'll probably cut this part out, but go ahead and ask questions if anyone has any. I'll go ahead and get rid of this. I can close this now, and I should go ahead and save that. Take this, and let's see. Close it. Should be fine. And since I'm not seeing any questions, have a good night, man. Thanks for watching.